The Pittsburgh Steelers have made their big move in free agency, signing Myles Jack, linebacker, recently released by the Jacksonville Jaguars to a 2-year, $16 million deal, per Adam Schefter of ESPN. I'm Chris Carter of the Locked On Steelers podcast. This edition is clearly Kevin Colbert. This was something he had been making way for. They've been making small moves here and there, adjusting different parts of the roster. And now you get a guy who's been a starting linebacker in the NFL for several years, a guy who has pedigree, a guy who has good experience, and has run the middle of a defense. And you pair him with Devin Bush. You now have two good linebackers at your off-ball inside linebacker positions. It's a major move for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and one that I've been calling for on the Locked On Steelers podcast for weeks now, even when he was still in the Jaguars, because I just thought he's one of their more expensive players. He was going to be someone that the Jaguars were going to want to move on from or do something with his contract. The fact that they get Myles Jack without losing a single draft pick and only paying on average $8 million per year over 2 years, which probably means that it's a contract that this year won't cost them too much in the salary cap, and it gives them options in the following year to say, hey, you played well, so we'll extend you, or you didn't play well, we'll find a way to mitigate those numbers. This is Kevin Colbert doing really great GM moves in the Pittsburgh organization in his last offseason. This is what I've been saying for so long. Steelers fans, be patient. Don't expect the Steelers to go out and get the first shiny thing. See what they do. They're going to wait things out, and they're going to make their moves patiently. It's a big move to get an important piece. The Steelers needed another inside linebacker to pair with Devin Bush. The thought was maybe you could get that guy in the draft. Now, you don't necessarily have to. You still could get a piece in the draft and a guy that would eventually replace Jack or Bush, because we're still not sure how Devin Bush will play this year after a struggling 2021 season. But the point is, now you have an experienced guy next to Bush. Either you have several options. Either A, they both play great and you're happy with it and you love the pair, or B, one plays great, you keep that guy for the future and you let the other guy go, or find some way to mitigate that and you get your young linebacker in a draft or make another move to get it. Or C, you're looking to say, hey, neither of these worked out. Devin Bush is moving on because they're looking at his situation, or Myles Jack, you find a way to mitigate the money that you backload into his contract that most likely isn't guaranteed, and the Steelers can clean slate and build up a new linebacker core behind them. But the whole point of this entire move is that the Steelers wanted to get an experienced linebacker, and this is why I just thought this was something that could be in the works here in the Locked On Steelers podcast. And it's one that I think could be a really big game changer for what the Steelers are looking to do in this NFL draft. Now, you don't necessarily need to take Devin Lloyd. You can afford to wait until the later rounds to get a guy like Leo Chenal, or a guy like Chad Muma, or a guy like Quay Walker or Channing Tindall, guys that you can get in the later rounds while still beefing up other parts of the team, and you can afford to address defensive tackle. Maybe look at your safety position, maybe look at your corner position. A lot of different moves are now in play because Kevin Colbert went and made this deal. A really good move in my book by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk more about this on the Locked On Steelers podcast with our Thursday edition, as we're breaking down this pick and what else the Steelers were doing, looking at players at the Georgia Pro Day.